And now I have the honor and privilege of introducing to you Dr. David Johnson, who's our Senior Associate Dean for Research and Policy in the college. David is also the Emma Berkmeyer Professor of Education and Leadership and Director of the Institute on Community Integration in the college. And you could read more about David on our program. But I just want to say that I'm extremely grateful for David. He's been a wonderful leader and mentor for me and for CEED, and we just appreciate all that he brings to helping us do our work. David, thanks for being here today.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's so much a pleasure to be part of CEED's event in this even modest way that I have here. So many friends and faces I haven't seen for a while, and some that have avoided me for years and now are here. I don't know. This is the part where an audience cringes when an academic pulls out a pile of paper, but I'll be very brief. First, of course, on behalf of Dean Jean Quam and the Dean's Office, we'd like to extend you a very, very strong congratulations on what you're doing here. I know that I spoke with Jean yesterday about this, and she has forwarded to you an email of congratulations. She's in Washington, D.C., attending to, I guess, deanly business. But I have a different hat, and I'm going to put that hat on here, and that is the Director of the Institute on Community Integration. And on behalf of all of our staff, I'd like to also congratulate you all here for all of your efforts in conjunction with making this a 4-decade event. I span 3 of these decades, and it's hard to believe. I came here in 1985 to work with Bob Brunings. Gave me a call. He said, "I have a quarter-time position for you. Are you interested?" I said, "Yeah, I guess so." So we came in here and we started what became the Institute on Community Integration. Lo and behold, living on the 2nd floor, I think at that time, was Rich Weinberg. I believe at that point, Rich, some of the history of over 40 years, forgive me if I messed up the history here, was the Center for Early Education and Development. Soon thereafter came Scott McConnell and Mary McAvoy, who I think added another dimension to the whole aspect of what CEED is now in terms of its capacity and its many, many accomplishments. You know, you look at those fond memories, and I remember many informal conversations with Rich in particular about how can we make all this work fiscally, David? You know, these kinds of things. And ICI has a very unique bond with CEED. In much of the literature and things you see, we're kind of down into the paragraph talking about an affiliate here. Christopher, for example, serves on the Institute Council for us. He attends monthly meetings to help us keep abreast of what CEED is doing and what we can do as an institute to also look at the needs of children with special needs and their families in relation to our communities here in Minnesota. I also look at the capacity, just the outreach capacity of this organization, and looking at things like your professional development programs. What's your signature programs? The McAvoy seminars, the other events you do here to advance public policy. In Minnesota, you operate from Austin to Aurora, across the country, or from California to Connecticut. You have international partners from Ireland to Iceland. Iceland has a warm place in my heart with the horses that I raise. Your research has also had extraordinary impact, not only in the day-to-day practice of serving children and families, but also in influencing and advancing public policy here in Minnesota and nationally. There is hardly a circle I go to when I go to conferences that someone doesn't come up and say, "CEED's at Minnesota, isn't it? They do good work." It's always a pleasure to be acknowledged in that way. Well, I could go on and on, but this program needs to go on. Bob Brunings wanted to be here this afternoon with you, but he's unavailable. But he called me, and he shared with me a few words that I'd like to read on his behalf for you in his absence here. He says, and I want to just add, fondly. When Bob speaks about CEED, he speaks with great fondness and I think great sincerity in terms of the relationships here. He says, more than 40 years ago, the university's College of Education provided support with significant funding from the Bush Foundation to start the Center for Early Education and Development, CEED. From modest beginnings, CEED established its leadership in advancing research and led in improving critically important educational programs for parents, caregivers, scholars, and teachers. The leadership of CEED believed in giving knowledge away related to promoting the healthy development of young children from the earliest years to present. One of my most vivid memories of this commitment was meeting Rich Weinberg at the university on an early Saturday morning, dressed in full regalia as Big Bird, on his way to Dayton's department store to promote the early learning and growth of young children. I thought he was more impressive as Big Bird than Big Bird himself, says Bob. CEED has been a state and international leader for more than 4 decades in promoting research, educational opportunity, and best practices on behalf of young children. It has much to celebrate and proud achievements of one of the university's most outstanding centers of discovery and public contribution. Happy birthday and congratulations. And thank you for the opportunity of being here.